Okay, hey Rams, it's Miss Morrow. We're going to walk through pages 7 and 8 in your notes for your homework tonight, okay? And these are actually not even 6th grade standards. These are some old topics that you've learned before that we need to review because they are very important to what we're about to learn next, okay? So it kind of falls under generating equivalent forms of fractions here. All right, so we are going to simplify the fractions. Another word for that would be reduce. Okay, now what this means is I have to make an equivalent fraction that has smaller numbers. Now the way I do this is I divide by a common factor. Do you remember that from elementary? Your greatest common factor? Or any common factor works. So I just think, what number can I divide both of these by? Okay, I want to show you a couple of examples here. One of them I could say, well, I know I could divide by 2 because they're both even. Now I get 3 over 21. All right, well, I'm still not quite done because that's not in simplest form. I can still divide that by 3. And I would get 3 divided by 3 is 1. 21 divided by 3 is 7. Now, this is your answer, but you can also get it by dividing by the greatest common factor. So I'm going to write it right here. The greatest common factor would be 6. That is the largest number that goes into 6 and 42. And if you use that greatest common factor, you only have to divide once instead of a few times. Okay, 1/7. Now, if you're not sure about what your factors are, in elementary you learn to make T-charts. Okay, you could say 20 would be 1 and 20, 2 and 10, and 4 and 5, right? You go through and you could do that for your numbers, for both of your numbers in the problem. 24 would be 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, and 4 and 6. You notice this list is getting larger and this list is getting smaller. So I look for the largest number that's on both lists here, and it's going to be a 4. So I would divide them both by 4. So 20 divided by 4 is 5, and 24 divided by 4 is 6. And there is nothing else besides 1 that goes into 5 and 6, so that means I'm done. The answer is 5/6. Okay, 20 30ths. Ooh, they both end in 0, so what does that mean I can divide them by? 10. I'm sure that's what you said, right? Okay, so 20 divided by 10 is 2, and 30 divided by 10 is 3. 2/3, and that is as simple as it gets because there is nothing else. There are no other common factors of 2 and 3. Okay. Oh, my camera jumped and froze a second. Okay, this one is 5 and 9/24. So we have a mixed number. We simplify it just like the other fractions. I just don't forget about that 5, okay? What numbers go into 9 and 24? Well, if I think about my factors of 9, it's 1 and 9, or 3 and 3. So do any of those go into 24? Yes, 3 times 8. So I'm going to divide them both by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 24 divided by 3 is 8. Well, my answer is not just 3/8. It is 5 and 3/8. Okay, 5 and 3/8. Now, I want you to pause for a second and I want you to answer right here. What are the steps for simplifying a fraction? I want to see complete sentences here. If I don't see complete sentences, you do not get full credit on this assignment, okay? Next, how do you represent one whole as a fraction? Okay, if I had a denominator of 3, what would that look like if I had one whole? I want you to answer that. That's from elementary. It's not new, okay? All right, next, what mixed number represents the number of pizzas represented? So we're looking at mixed numbers, which means the whole number plus the fraction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 2 out of those 3 pieces. Okay, next one is what improper fraction? That means, that means how many thirds? Okay, I just want to get to the thirds. So I have 3 of them here. 3 more and 3 more. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 plus 2 is 17 thirds. Okay? Now, I'm going to teach you a new strategy. Not a new strategy, just give you some new words, ways to remember changing your mixed numbers to fractions, okay? We're going to talk about using your mad math skills, all right? Your mad math skills here. So first thing is going to be, this is the same problem from over here, okay? From this right there. So what I did, I multiplied 5 times 3 because I did 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I had 5 pizzas and each one had 3 pieces, so I multiplied 5 times 3. So M is for multiply. A is add. And D is denominator. Okay, so first thing is I'm going to multiply right here. I'm going to multiply 5 times 3 to get 15. I'm going to add 2. So 15 plus 2 is 17. And then I keep the same denominator. That 17 goes over 3. Okay, we're going to do the same thing right here. Use our mad math skills. So 6 times 8 is 48. Okay, and then I'm going to add 2. And then my denominator stays the same. Now, 58ths. Okay. You could also simplify that and it would be 25 fourths. Okay. Next one, 2 1/4. So multiply 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1, 9, and my denominator stays the same, 9 fourths. That is your improper fraction. Okay. So right over here on your questions, how do you change a mixed number to an improper fraction? I want you to put it into words. Don't just copy down my exact words. I want you to put it in your own words here. When you take a picture of this and submit it to me, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, next, improper fraction. All right, we know that when we have an improper fraction, we have to make it a mixed number. Now, I tell students a story, and I'll explain this a little bit more in class, but let's say it's raining outside, and there are 2 little doggies out here, and you need one of them. So you need them in the doghouse, right? But there's only room for one. Who goes in that doghouse? Well, and around my neighborhood, it's the top dog. Okay, it's not always that biggest, but sometimes it's that little yapping chihuahua. Whichever one is that top dog. And by top dog here, I mean the numerator. The number that is on top, that goes in the little doghouse here. So it becomes 11 divided by 4. And you can always read any fraction as a division problem. You read it from the top down, just like a page on a book. 11 divided by 4. So top dog goes in the house. And then we just divide. 4 does not go into 1, but it goes into 11. 2 times 4 times 2 is 8. I subtract and get a 3. But my denominator stays the same. Okay? So what we do here, we're going to do a little check mark. Okay? So what this means is 2, and then your remainder over 4. So 2, and that 3 goes right up here, 3 fourths. Your remainder becomes the numerator in your fraction. Okay? Next, 18 twelfths. Okay, how do I divide that? Top dog. Top dog goes in the house every time. 18 over 12. It doesn't matter which one's bigger anymore. Okay, that's elementary rules. So 12 times 1 is 12, and I subtract and get a 6. That 6 becomes the numerator up here, but my denominator is still going to be 12. So it's 1 and 6 twelfths. It's the same thing as 1 and 1/2 because I could divide them both by 6. Okay? All right, 9 thirds. This one's a little bit different. We still start out the same way, though. Top dog goes in the house, so 9 divided by 3. How many times does 3 go into 9? 3. 3 times 3 is 9, and I'm subtracting it a 0. There is no remainder. That means there's not going to be a mixed number. 9/3 is the same thing as 3. Okay, now you need to make for sure you answer this. How do you change an improper fraction to a mixed number? And also fill out your summary. If this is not complete, you do not get full credit for doing this assignment. I want you to summarize what you've learned about simplifying fractions and changing mixed numbers to improper fractions.